Welcome to Sequential Geek. Greetings. What is up? Welcome to my channel. If you are new, I appreciate your curiosity swinging by, spending the time, giving me a shot. If you're a returning subscriber, and you'll probably recognize this first comic I'm about to show from a couple of hauls ago. Welcome to Comic Book Haul 69, part 49. This happens to be the chess set I found in preparation for my move back to Michigan. Cannot wait. That's the chess set of which I learned how to play chess. Pretty cool. Haven't seen this in a while. Let's get on with the haul, y'all, shall we? You know, when I had shown off Night of the Cadillacs, issue number 1, I don't know, 2 or 3 hauls ago, I thought it was a new comic. It was just in the same area as the New Comix, like 2 copies of issue 1. Turns out, Night of the Cadillacs from Scout Comics only had 2 issues, as far as I found. And I was looking in the back issue bin the other day and found the second issue. So this is my second copy of issue 1. Got 2 copies now of issue 2. I figured this doubles the second copies I'm going to end up giving away. It's so fucking cool. Just like a way to promote comics, an alternative to the big 2, to Marvel and DC, and an alternative to just Image. Check out Night of the Cadillacs. Scout Comics. I showed off the contents to issue number 1 per Scout Comics website. They describe this comic as in the spirit of Lost Boys and Warriors. Night of the Cadillacs is a high-octane mix of horror, hard action, forbidden love, and street culture. Rival supernatural gangs come to Earth on an overnight raiding mission to retrieve life-restoring blood from humans. Wow. So this artwork is Kirk Manley. And more of this, please. Not necessarily what he's depicting all the time, but just the style. Something different, eye-catching, exciting. The way this guy's depicting action has got me spending money. It's like, so unfortunately, only 2 issues were published in September and October 2021. Night of the Cadillacs. Written by Jake Earns and Jeff Marsick. Art by Kirk Manley. Back in time now to December 1986. Silverwolf Publishing. Stack. Issue number 1. It's a publishing company based out of Sacramento, California. I love this type of lowbrow DIY type stuff. You know, like you talk about Marvel, Image, DC, like your mainstream titles, right? And then you have your DIY indie books and your alternative press. Image is kind of alternative press. Scout Comics is kind of, like more indie, more alternative press. I'm looking at indie as the more DIY something is, the more self-published it is, the more self-distributed it is, the more indie it is, right? Something could be backed by venture capitalists or some other publishing company that's well-funded, and I think that would consider that more as an alternative. But the more DIY it is, man, the more indie, in my opinion, it is. And this whole era of these 80s indie comics, I don't think a lot of these people were as self-aware of their style and just how their comics would be looked at as lowbrow as they are taken, yet endearingly accepted. I love the whole aspect of, hey, somebody might not have all the best illustrating skills. You know, Silverwolf was known for poor writing, but I like the fact that somebody, maybe they had one drawing class, maybe a couple in high school, but they decided, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I mean, this guy, he's called Anyman, Anymon, from another dimension. I think he's like a merc here on Earth. He's got this super advanced suit that can turn into this badass tank. And also, I just looked at that imagery right there. Shoots missiles, and it can turn into this super flat car. There he is, turning into the car. The art is Lorenzo Lizana. Yeah, Silverwolf Comics, founded by Chris Silver. And Chris Silver had a bad reputation for not paying his artists on time. One of the novelties with Stack specifically is that Silverwolf is the first company to sign Rob Liefeld for this title. But then after Rob Liefeld worked on Megatron comic book, and then he got signed for DC and then Marvel. So even though this was the first company to sign Rob Liefeld, Silverwolf, he never worked on Stack. He bailed and took off for DC and Marvel. Also, though, to note, check out this website. For all y'all want to know a little bit about the printing history with Faust, as well as just with Silverwolf, this is WCBN, webcastbeacon.com. And this is a blog from 2013. What do we got here? Skelly Tony. February 2013. This guy's like this, I don't know, he's got a doctorate on the history of these comics from the 80s. People have called them power comics or just like lowbrow outlaw comics, whatever. But he's talking about just how Chris Silver's reputation was hurt. He didn't pay his writers on time. Talking here about how Rob Liefeld took off without doing any work. I'll leave a link for this in the description below, but I also wanted to note, he's here talking about how Chris Silver used Macintosh for the lettering. So Chris Silver wrote the comic book Grips, published by Silverwolf. And, you know, that's a precursor to Faust. That comic book, written by David Quinn, art by Tim Vigil. So Tim Vigil was doing the art to Chris Silver's story in this other comic book, Grips, and it lasted for 4 issues. Well, he was saying here how Grips issue 5 and 6 are actually the comic book Greater Mercury Comics issues 5 and 6. Saying this guy, Dale Quick, got some investors together to start a company called Greater Mercury Comics that would continue Chris Silver's line of books. So Greater Mercury Comics, this comic book starts with issue 5. FYI, check out the details in the description for that link to get the full 411. Just felt like I was fortunate to find that info real quick, so I wanted to pass it on to y'all. Now this one I got just as a cover by. I hear great things about this comic book, Night Streets. The shop did have the first issue, but it just only got so much space, right, for storage. And let's check it out, though. Cover says it's painted by Armstrong, 1986. So Night Streets, this is actually from 86. This is published by Arrow Comics. The connection could make with Arrow. They also had this comic book called Dead World, and then they published the first 9 issues. And then Caliber Comics, which is also from Michigan. Arrow Comics, it's from Ypsilanti. That's where I'm going to be moving to in like 10 days. But yeah, so Dead World, as of issue 10, got taken over by Caliber Comics from the Detroit area. And that issue 10, the back cover of which has that first full image of The Crow by James O'Barr. And James O'Barr does like the B cover, the Not for Wussies cover. Arrow Comics, the original publisher of Dead World and the publisher of Night Streets. Got this beautifully illustrated, it's like kind of lowbrow comic here. Fucking love it. No, haven't read this yet. Great condition, and I'm looking forward to it. Some of these comics that have too much black ink and they got this like amateur style of illustration that turns me off a lot, but it just seems like things are spaced evenly enough. I don't know, the composition just enough works for me as far as a lowbrow sense to have me want to delve into it. It's the paneling itself as well for me. I find kind of cleans it up, makes it more presentable. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of this. A couple of different artists here. We got Armstrong for the cover. This different one on the back. Some wild shit. Love it. All right, next up, Night Thrasher. This heroine in Night Streets, she's a street level hero, anti-hero. So Night Thrasher following up with another street level hero. This is his first limited series, as a matter of fact, from 1992. VF copy. So when I saw it's his first series, VF in Newsstand, fucking grabbed it. In my opinion, only because I'm picky, I say if it's after 1983, 84, get it in at least VF. Make sure it's a Newsstand because that ratio makes it more rare. And I just think if there's going to be less people buying physical copies, or if people think that, you know, the interest in superhero genre might be waning later down in the future, people get picky. And physical copies take up space. Just being concerned with selling things. Hey, if you're just able to get all your comics for 50 cents, $1, then when you get rid of them later down the line, then there really will be no loss. You'll probably just break even, worst case scenario. You won't mind if somebody lowballs you. Some of my stuff is for $1, but I also buy stuff for like $5, $4, $8. And then if it's really collectible, check out some of my past vids. I mentioned the prices. Leave me a comment if what you think is a decent deal or not. But that being said, when I saw this, and I know how it's 15% Newsstand ratio in 1990, this is 1992, so decided to pull the trigger on it. It was just $1. His first limited series, 4 issues. His first appearance, Night Thrasher, is Thor 411 in 1989. Next up, back to the 80s, 1986, the Bushido Blade of Zatoichi, Walrus. So I think, 20 years before this comic came out, this is 1986, so I think around 1966, early 60s, there was this black and white movie out of Japan about this blind samurai, Zatoichi. So we got this campy interpretation, which is fucking amazingly illustrated artwork, though, for such a campy concept. Haven't read this. Chuck Wojciechowicz. It's like a Sienkiewicz, Kiewicz. Wojtkiewicz. Yeah. You run with that. John Holowski is your writer. And I'm just having fun with this art. This just looks like some fun shit for such a campy concept. Holy fuck. Beautifully illustrated artwork, though. Very clear, solid lines. The publishing company is Solson, which is run by the son of Marvel Comics veteran Sol Brodsky. How to Publish Comics by Gary Brodsky for $2. next few comics, I had a few like just X-Men comics just off the cuff. This one is my reader copy of, man, it's like, which issue is my favorite Claremont Paul Smith issue? I don't know. All of them. All of them. This one kicks ass too, though. I just bought this randomly because I dig the cover. There were some flaws on the cover. Whatever. Just figured it was just like a nice reader copy. Check this out. Check this out. Love Chris Claremont. Love his X-Men run. Chris Claremont wrote the X-Men for 16 years. 1975 to 1991. I think Paul Smith started doing the art with Uncanny X-Men as of issue 165. Following up Dave Cockrum. Let's look at the paneling here, first of all. Second of all, you got Wolverine in Japan, so we're alluding to his history, right? Perpetuating that mystique. Pushing a lot of that Ronin aspect. Then we got Storm, right? I don't know if she was going exactly through an identity crisis, because this is before she loses her powers, which is coming up pretty soon. And I know she has the love story with Forge, the Barry Windsor Smith story. That's like issue 186, and then a year later, 198. Those two Barry Windsor Smith stories, that was just after Storm lost her powers. So she's in Japan. Here's Yukio, just totally opposite personality. They get attacked by some muggers, and Storm's pointing out how, you know, she's surprised at herself for intentionally inflicting pain. She's saying she doesn't normally do that. You know, Yukio's response is just, those muggers deserved it. They'll think twice next time. She says, whatever it is, this madness of yours that has infected me, I welcome it. So Storm's going through some type of transformation. Chris Claremont, always keeping us on our toes with these people. Great image. Rogue kicking ass. It's the paneling. Now we got Wolverine Silver Samurai fight. Looking brilliant. Then another reason why I love this comic so much. Here's Mariko, the love of his life. Bam. I mean, for me, this would make like a great forearm tat, maybe. Mohawk Storm. And for those of you that collect Smoking and Comics, Mastermind with a SIG as well. Got Wolverine smoking on the John Romita Jr. cover. It's real quick. So this is September 1983. And now we're talking the start of the Mutant Massacre in October 1986, X-Men 210. Of course, Claremont with Dan Green layouts, inks, John Romita's pencils. I just wanted to show this real quick because we got, is it Mr. Sinister sent the Marauders into the sewers to kill off the Morlocks, and also Magneto gets an invite to join the Hellfire Club in this issue. So 1986, 1986, 1986, and 1986 for your historical referencing pleasure. X-Men number 5, February 1992 and March 1992. Can't say I'm a big fan of Jim Lee. Don't have anything against him. There's one cover by Jim Lee that I really dig. I really would just jump at if I found it in Newsstand, high grade condition. That's this one right here. This issue number 5. 6 was right next to it. Figured it was in nice condition. They got that 50% off sale, by the way, too, over at Vision Comics and Oddities just the other day. So, yeah, man, just had to pull the trigger on it. You know, this is also one of Jim Lee's creations, in a sense, this version of Psylocke. So that's cool to get her on the cover there for issue number 6. This is just such a dope cover. Second appearance of Omega Red. So, what was it? X-Men #1 that sold 8 million copies. Right? That Chris Claremont story, Jim Lee doing the art, and then that was just for the first 3 issues that Chris Claremont hung around this X-Men comic. And then Jim Lee was working on the plot. John Byrne did the script here for issue 5. And Scott Lobdell did the script. Jim Lee's plot for issue 6.
My love for you is like a truck berserker. Would you like some making fuck berserker?
That's fucking funny, man.
Did he say making fuck?
Berserker 12-issue series. That's right. This is June 2021. You know, I just figured, fuck it. I showed off recently the sketch cover for this, for the issue number 1. I got 11 more to go. Now with this, I got 10 more to go. It's 12-issue series. And just for the fuck of it, because these were so rare up until recently, I've been slowly seeing these in the back issue bin. So I found a nice copy. I want to see if I'm able to get at least the A covers for all 12. Just for the hell of it. I looked at the interior artwork here and dig it. I put it, I wouldn't say it would have the clean, clear lines like that Bushido Satoichi comic, but I call this style more what, illustrative? As you can see, he's like this warrior that gets his ass kicked a lot like Wolverine. I have faith in Keanu Reeves. I have faith in this title. This is a spec buy as well. I mean, if I can get some reader copies, that's great. But just as far as the popularity of this, so I can at least trade this, I have faith in Keanu Reeves. I think that whether this is going to be an animated show or movie, I have faith that something will come out of this eventually. Yeah, so experienced, pretty respected name, Reeves, as a producer, in my opinion. We shall see. What do we got right here? We got ourselves some reprints. To reiterate from my last haul, when I was showing off like a reprint trade paperback of Stan and Jack's X-Men, that Marvel Masterworks trade paperback. We got some trade paperbacks that, unlike that Marvel Masterworks, that was from 2003. You know, these are from the 90s, except this is a third printing and this is a second printing. Together, they reprint the first 11 issues of Spawn, which is great. Those are the ones that I have my Newsstand copies of the first 11 issues. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look. What is this? Volume 1. Let's see if we can get first appearance of Angela. I think we got Spawn 8, the Alan Moore issue. And then the next one, Spawn 9, the Neil Gaiman issue, first appearance of Angela. But yeah, I think that if you get a trade paperback, those early trade paperbacks from the late 80s throughout the 90s, if you find them in VF, as soon as they get like a bent corner, some type of crease, the reader copies in my opinion. But if you can keep trade paperback in VF. You get that really nice. I think it's going to be collectible. I think you're going to see, you know, TPBs graded. There's no ads, and they have been treated as disposable items. So there's going to be some collectability, but these are great reader copies. If you have beat up trades and people are telling you that they don't want them, no one's going to want to buy them. People want beat up reader copies. They want to trade for them. You can get rid of them. Maybe not the price you want. Next up, Put Your Knights. Beautiful David Finch cover. Joe Weems doing the inks. This is from December 2000. Issue 1 and 2 of this limited series. David Finch only does the art for issue number 1. Stories are written by Charles Holland, but it's Dwayne Turner, pencils and inks. This 4-issue limited series, covers and interiors. Dwayne Turner kicking some 90s ass. I know, it's from 2001, but February 2001 is issue 2. December 2000 is this issue number 1 right here. Still's got that quintessential 90s feel to it, in my opinion. But yeah, when I looked at this a few pages, I was sold. And this second issue, simply a cover by. Issue 204, But Your Knight. You know, I love my collectability, stuff that's iconic, right? Things that I think that can last the test of time. Even if it's super niche, if it's something like a free comic book day book like this, no stamp, for me, I find that collectible. I like that type of novelty personally, just as far as like personal enjoyment. And I like Frank Miller. But as far as resale wise, as long as I can keep these conditioned on these modern comics, this is from 2003, in nice shape. Always trying to plan on, you know, getting rid of these. I figure people are going to be more and more picky, just because I think the base for people wanting physical copies might be shrinking. Maybe. Maybe not necessarily. I know there's supposed to be this huge crunch with real estate and space, and everyone's going to reject everyone that owns plastic. You can't just improve shit. You have to reject people. So that whole carbon footprint thing, I think everyone, plastic bags, it's going to be a taboo thing for a certain extent, for a certain period of time. So with people being picky about shit like that, and then the condition of the comics, people are going to be picky about, and everyone's going to want to, I don't know, own nothing and like it. So live in augmented reality and be pretentious about how they don't own shit. I don't know. Fucking hope not. But that being said, though, I do think people are more and more picky about collectibles and things in general. So I'm trying to be careful with the condition. This is the Stephen Grant adaptation of Frank Miller's RoboCop. Juan Jose Rip. Fucking awesome artist. Frank Miller images, I think, are used for covers, but damn, look at that Jose Rip artwork. Yes, please. Doesn't this remind you that Night of the Cadillacs? Just the way it pops. All right, that's 2003. Stargate story. to wrap it up, it is January 25th, super early in the morning, 2024. What does that mean, 2024? Let's see, 2012, the state of Colorado and the state of Washington legalized the use of marijuana as long as you're at least 21 years old. And that started, I think, January 2013. And then as of 2014, you could go into a store and legally purchase, at least on a state level, for Washington and Colorado as of 2014. It is the 10-year anniversary in the United States of being able to walk into the store, if you're at least 21, and walk out, legally purchase marijuana. Fucking A. Not sure, but depending on the state, up to 2.5 ounces. I'm not sure. 10 to 12 plants you can grow, but you get stopped for jaywalking. You don't have to worry about not being able to get a job because somebody found a joint on you. Something frivolous. So I've shown off these comics in my past hauls, and I just got these as novelties for the anniversary, for the fact that I'm going to be leaving Colorado. And I know it says Cali Chronics Comics, but it's in the vein of just promoting the safe use of recreational marijuana and the markets. And, you've got entrepreneurship that's promoted in these, Rastafarianism, or just plain responsible fun, pushing products and trying to help the market grow. But like I was saying with, the lowbrow comics like, Stack or, Night Streets, this is, it's DIY, and it's kind of got like a lowbrow look to it. I know that there's like these artists today, like Ben Mara and Josh Breyer. Those two indie artists, they like to emulate that lowbrow 80s style with their art. It's almost like a genre that they're creating, paying tribute to, like these lowbrow outlaw, lowbrow, some people call them power comics. And the anatomy might not always be up to par that you want, but just something about like the way the heads are shaped and commonly, frequently in these types of books. The front profile is common, front or side, it's just like people that don't have that many art lessons or that much experience drawing. I think this person does, but like I said, like Ben Mara, they kind of just simplify some of their line work so that it gets this, it's kind of like 80s look. I believe we have 4 new states now as of this year that have legalized recreational use of weed. I know recently Delaware and Missouri, and now Minnesota and the state of Ohio. Right now, in Ohio, you can own marijuana. You can have an eighth of weed in your pocket if you're at least 21 and legally have marijuana. Probably next year in Ohio, you can walk into a recreational weed shop and buy it legally. It's fucking amazing. I was born in Ohio. I just came from there for a minute, and then we're going to be returning back to Michigan, though. It's mainly where I'm from. Whew! Cannot wait. Maybe a couple of these I'll hand out to some friends in Michigan. Fun little novelty to bring back among some other books to give away. And on that note, I float. Chilling on a C note. And I appreciate y'all's comments, feedback. Thank you for swinging by, giving me a look-see. Keep on collecting, keep on reading. Peace.